Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse. Well, welcome back, Geek Freaks. We have an awesome episode for you today. I am TC, joined as always by JJ.
What up, dudes?
And Toy Story.
What's up?
So today we're going to be doing our review on the Synder Cut. We're going to throw a little Winter Soldier in there too, episode 1.
Yeah, good week for superheroes.
Yeah, definitely a good week for superheroes. And then we're going to finish it off with a new segment we're going to start doing called Buy, Sell, or Hold. So each of us is going to give a recommendation on a book we think you should buy, a book we think you should sell, and a book we think you should hold on for a little while. Mm-hmm. But before we go into all that, as always, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Toy Story for the Geek Beat.
I love the inflection there where you go so low. All right, so a little Marvel news. Unfortunately, more pushing back due to COVID. So Black Widow and Shang-Chi have been pushed back again. But the good news is that Black Widow will be available for viewing for an extra $30 on Disney Plus on the same day as the theatrical release.
See, so why couldn't they do this in the beginning?
But also why couldn't they just leave it for the May release date? I don't get it. But besides the point, it now comes out July 9th, and Shang-Chi will now be out September 3rd. And then I think all the other dates are the same. Those are the only two that were pushed.
It's really interesting that I had seriously thought that whatever was going to happen in Black Widow was going to have an effect on the Falcon and Winter Soldier specifically, if none else, that show. So I'm guessing if they're pushing it, it doesn't. So I guess Taskmaster, he's not going to be in it, guys. So don't start pushing your Taskmasters again.
I'd like to know the reason why they keep pushing it. Like, it's just, I mean,
there's got to be a grand scheme behind it. I think if my main reason is I think they're going to get more people in the theaters because I mean I'm going to be fully covered by then, so I'm going to go see this in the movie theater. That's probably the first movie I'm going to plan to go see in theaters. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably their reasoning behind it. I think by July they're figuring everything's going to kind of normalize. So hopefully,
Dude, they're going to make a killing off the $30 for Disney Plus.
Oh God!
Oh yeah, sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if this makes more than usual.
Did we talk about how on last episode how I saw the other day they finally crossed the 100 million mark of subscribers. They have 100 million, over 100 million subscribers now for Disney Plus. So I mean, even if those what's that? 800. I can't even factor in how much money that is at this point.
I know.
It's $8 billion. Is that right?
Essentially.
Well, that goes into what's next.
Yeah. So good for them.
Which next is Disney's increasing their pricing, I hear, right?
Yeah, so it's going to go up from $7 a month to $8 a month, and the annual's going up $10 a month from $70 to $80. And that's as of this week, 3/26. So I mean, it's still cheap as hell.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot more stuff coming out now. In the beginning, they only had the one or two things. When it first dropped, you really didn't have anything else other than the Mandalorian that came out on the initial phase. So they are really starting to pump out the original content now, and it makes sense. This stuff isn't free. Isn't free, and it's not, people aren't going to do it if they're not going to make money. So I mean, an extra $1, I'm fine. If they start charging me $150 a year, that's a different story.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, honestly.
Okay.
All right, moving on. So no surprise here, but Keanu Reeves is set to star and produce a live-action Berserker film and anime series for Netflix.
So I think I responded to this on our social media a while back. Before this was officially made, people said, oh, he had interest in doing a live action of this. And I was like, yeah, and water's also wet for anyone who didn't realize that. I was just like, I mean, obviously this was always the plan intended. So I want to ask you guys a question about this. So he essentially got this project paid for by fans, right? So when they kickstarted this, they don't put any money into it, right? So he probably created it. So he essentially got this thing paid for, and he got an audience for it on its own, which basically got producers and people interested. So he basically didn't spend a cent and is getting this thing like off the ground. I mean, he's a producer. I'm sure he's going to put some money into like, the production and all this stuff, but it's a killer business plan of like
really
how to get a movie started. I mean,
it totally is.
I would be blown away if more people don't start doing stuff like this, especially like, actors and, other type of creators. It's craziness.
I mean, we've talked about this quite a lot, but I mean, look what these media companies like, Kickstarter and I mean, look what they've done for an average person, especially like a comic artist or, a writer. Like they're getting their name out there and they're getting their exposure. I mean, obviously he didn't need the exposure for any of this. I mean, put Keanu Reeves on a box of cereal, people are going to buy it.
Yeah. I think what you're saying too, I think it does have a little bit of relationship with how popular that person is. I mean, if the three of us try to do a Kickstarter, I mean, it's going to be very hard to get that Kickstarter funded. We'll have friends and stuff pushing it out, but it's different if like, Jimmy Palmiotti or Scott Snyder or, even Billy Tucci does a Kickstarter. They already have their following of people. Yeah. It's a lot easier to get that project up and running when you have like a decent following already. We'd have to throw Mike Carroll into our Kickstarter to get it really off the ground.
I imagine Keanu, he's going to be starring in this. He's going to be.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? He's starring in it.
I just watched Speed. I just watched Speed the other day again. It's on like HBO Max, and it was just amazing to see him how young he was and basically fresh on the scene.
He's not on Speed 2 though. That's not him.
No, he wasn't. And then seeing him now where he's at, it's amazing.
I mean, I was a huge fan of Bill and Ted when I was a kid, and that was even before Speed.
Yeah.
I mean, between like my favorite '90s movie of him is 100% Point Break, though. I love that.
Oh, I can't stand it. We won't go into that.
That movie is amazing.
What else we got?
All right, next up. So Warner Brothers, the Zatanna adaptation produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, his production company, has tapped Oscar-nominated director of Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell, to write the screenplay.
Yeah, it's it seems like they're putting a decent amount of attention on this, and from what I'm hearing, this is only the second main starring female role that they're having. They did a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago at this point, they did cast a Supergirl for the Flash movie that's happening. I forgot who's doing that, but there's no plan for her own movie yet, the Supergirl character. So this will be the second, main character from the DC universe, second main female character, getting her own film. So
I'm excited for this.
And she's, I mean, we'll go into this later. She's always been a really awesome character. I think she's only been portrayed on screen once in Smallville. Like she's never been like a live action adaptation other than that. The actress, she was a great actress too. I think she's the actress who played Medusa in that short-lived Inhumans show that they did. But she's really good. She was really good as the character. I've always liked the character. She's really good in the comics. She doesn't get as much love as she should, honestly.
And I'm telling you, my favorite artist that does her is Adam Hughes, man. Yeah. He just knocks her out so beautiful.
He did like a decent. I don't know how long that run is he did of Zatanna, but it was a really great run. Like all those books in that run are worth like a ton of money.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, I'm excited for that for sure.
Awesome. All right, next up, Cassie Wallfall. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I don't know.
Cassie Wallfall. Casey. K-A-C-I. We're going to go with Casey. Apologies if we're pronouncing your name wrong. Has been cast as star in a new CW series, Naomi.
Yes.
So they're actually doing this.
Yeah.
So that's what the word is. So I mean, it's on IMDb. It's she has it as stuff that she's in production for. I don't know. Like I know she was introduced in Superman. I really don't know the story on her other than that. I'm way behind on my Superman reading, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I know she's gonna have her own show. I mean, I guess I'm assuming since it's the CW, she's going to have interactions with the other CW shows. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. All right, more Disney Plus news. National Treasure is coming back, but not anything. No Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That is the worst news I've heard all week. But
Yeah.
I love the National Treasure type, content anyway. Uncharted, all that. It's so cool. So
you can do so much with this.
It's going to be good. It's going to be enjoyable, I'm sure. I mean, I don't think anyone would. I mean, I might consider the National Treasure movies like Oscar nominees, but they're very enjoyable.
Oscar nominees?
As long as they keep
I know it's not saying they're masterpieces or anything, but they're good, fun, enjoyable movies.
They are, and I'm hoping that they'll keep it within the whole, American history, you know, like they've done, because I love that stuff. I just think it's, even though it's not real, it's fun to watch.
I know.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be centering around a young girl. I don't know if she's like an adult or like maybe a preteen. I think it's going to be geared more towards like teens, though.
Maybe she has to go find Nick Cage in this one.
I don't think he's involved.
I'm sure he will be.
I hope he is. I mean, it'd be a shame if he's not at least somewhat involved.
I know.
Somebody found the missing Superman 1, Action Comics 1. I know they already found it, but
that was one of the most favorite stories I've heard. Stuff that told.
All right. Last but not least, this is some recent news. Breaking, as some would say. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan has been cast as Dr. Fate in the Black Adam movie. Correct?
I freaking love him.
This is going to be awesome. I'm trying to visualize what he's going to look like. I think it's. I'm so excited about this because I love this character, and it's there's not a lot out there of him. You know what I mean? It's not a normal character people read or look at.
He's gotten some love on the TV shows, but not a lot.
Not a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're even going to let him take the helmet off, or are we just going to get voice? I feel like with Pierce Brosnan, you're going to want to at least see him once.
Got to see him.
Yeah, and I mean before we go into anything else, we just saw the first episode. So we're 2 episodes in now on the Falcon and Winter Soldier. But this past Friday, we also got our first episode of Mighty Ducks. So we're obviously recording this before that. So I'm going to be watching that as well. I'm going to see if I can get my daughter to watch it too. So we'll have more news on that, but I'm excited.
Yeah, so we powered through that. That's about it.
Nice. Good. Yeah.
All right, so next we're going to go into our Snyder Cut and a little bit of Falcon and Winter Soldier review. Who wants to take it away? All right, JJ, you were the one who kind of who suggested this one. So why don't you take it away? What do you want to say about the Snyder Cut? What are your first?
Oh, we're starting right now. We're going to start right now.
Yeah.
I freaking love this. I loved it. I'm going to bleep that out. Hopefully I can catch that out.
You didn't finish it.
You didn't finish the whole word. It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't. Thank God that this was released. It put a whole different look on the movie. I know, the Whedon one was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my most favorite, comic book movie, but I enjoyed it. It was one of those movies I can watch over and over again without a problem. This one, you can't compare the two. I mean, it went from here to, way up here. Yeah. I thought. So
do we want to do like a little background first for people who may not know?
Sure.
Yeah. So
if you're listening to this and somehow don't know, we're gonna tell you.
It goes a little deeper. So obviously, Justice League came out in 2017. That version was 1 hour and 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
Essentially, what happened is Zack Snyder filmed this movie. The one we saw, it was that cut, and it was 4 hours. He brought this to Warner Brothers, and the executives went stone-faced and was like, "This can't happen." This was also 4 or 5 years ago when we were in a very different place. We didn't have the streaming services. We didn't have these long movies, as many long TV shows.
Well, it probably wasn't as long though, right, Toy Story? Because his
original cut was this. The one he got it down to 3 hours for the studio. Okay. They didn't like that. They wanted max 2 hours.
Right.
So that's when they brought Joss Whedon in to do some rewrites to try and lighten up the tone. They also didn't like how dark it was. So they brought him in. And while he was already on the project was when Zack Snyder's daughter unfortunately passed away and he left the project. And then basically what happened after he left, the studio was told Joss Whedon, all right, we're scrapping a lot of this. Just reshoot. Here's $100 million to go reshoot. And he made almost a completely different movie. Threads of the same plot, but completely different tone. reshot like 90% of it, and that's what we got. So that's what we got in 2017, and what we got this year is, except for the epilogue, was his full original cut, how he had it before in 2016 or whatever that was.
Oh, that was the only stuff that was reshot.
Yeah, so in October they did reshoots, and it was entirely the epilogue.
That's why Ben Affleck's so much thinner.
Yes, we'll talk about that later, but he looks completely different.
So GJ, let me ask you, what was it that you liked so much more about this one compared to the original cut?
So first, right off the bat, when you first watch this, you get a little message on your screen that this is being shown in how do you say 4:3
aspect ratio
prospect, which it puts a whole different spin on the movie, because you're not getting a wide shots. Everything's kind of like a normal TV. I like that look. I like movies like that. I mean, widescreen's great on some movies, but some like this, I think it was perfect for it.
I don't think I saw that. I watched it on my computer screen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they say if you watch on your iPad, it fits perfectly. But if you're on a TV, it puts that ratio, and it was just so much. I thought it was so much better because you get the more closer in shots. It's not so wide. You're not, so your focus is clearly in this square right in front of you. So you're not, but this movie was much more darker. It was much more, darker. I don't know where I'm going with that.
There was no forced humor.
Right. That was the other thing. So even the characters, everything was just, it was kind of like a U-turn. So just like, Toy Story was saying, there was a lot of funny parts in the original one. You had, I think we mentioned this way in the back.
It was DC trying to be Marvel.
Right. We had, Flash. I think Flash was supposed to be more of like the comic relief type of guy. That was kind of thrown out the door. I mean, he had a major part, and that's so I'm going to take it back even more. This movie, I'm not sure why they called it the Justice League. It should have been called like Cyborg and the Justice League or something like that. Because
which is ironic, because Cyborg was basically an ornament in the original one.
Right, and I know that there was some controversy going on. He caused some issues, with the whole Josh Whedon. I don't even want to get into because I don't understand a lot of what he was doing. But this movie was focused around him, and here's a character we don't know much about. Originally, he's not in the original Justice League settings back in the comics. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's more of a Teen Titan later in life, but we got a lot more backstory in all these characters compared to what we had originally. Mm-hmm. So I love the whole backstory of Flash and Cyborg and all these other characters that they were behind the scenes that were never there in the very beginning. So you got that.
They got all their due time. Everybody got their origin story. Nothing felt rushed, and everything felt like it flowed where it was supposed to. They didn't just come together for no reason, just because Batman saw some cubes on the guts of a bird in the beginning of the last one.
Right, and you got also you've got the raw, brutal force of some of these superheroes. I mean, you've got Wonder Woman, who you never saw her hitting somebody really enough, but in this version, she's throwing some guy's head through a wall, and you see the blood spatter on it. Like that makes it more real, more emotional when you watch it like that. I think where originally it was more of teeny bopper, like a kid teenage movie, and that was, I think the original was what, PG-13, and this one was rated R. So I mean, So I mean, I like the realism, even though it's not real, that you got out of this compared to the first one.
You mean kind of like the authenticity? It's authentic, yeah.
And the other thing you notice too right away is they did change music composers. So originally it was Dan.
Yeah, I think it was a totally new score, right?
Totally new score, and you realize that right away. I mean, as soon as the movie starts, you realize that this is a whole different type of music compared to what Danny Elfman had in the first one. I don't know the other guy's. He's like, I don't know his name, Jan or something like that.
It wasn't Hans Zimmer, was it?
No. It was a guy I'd never even heard of. He did the music for Mad Max, I think, also. But you got a lot of different music in here, and it was a much better type of environment to watch.
You probably have it the freshest on your mind, Toy Story. What about you? What do you think?
I absolutely loved it. I really did, and that's coming from someone who hates Man of Steel, hates Batman vs Superman, and hated the 2017 Justice League. I thought this movie was fantastic. if you compare frames, which I did last night at about 2 a.m., I was just on YouTube and like looking at, Joss Whedon must have came in and like upped the saturation on the 2017 version, up the brightness. Like compared to this one, this looks like it was just shot and left alone.
Raw.
It's dark, it's raw, it's real, like you said. That's the first thing that I noticed. The second thing was the effects, which fascinated me because from the trailers and stuff, I thought I wouldn't like them because they look extremely video gamey. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like they were very, like compared to Marvel, whereas Marvel, you know, obviously it's fake stuff, but I think at least they try and make it look as real as possible. This one doesn't look like they're trying to make it real. It just looks like that's the style of it.
It's natural.
Like it's natural for the movie too. So I really like that. I thought that the plot flowed like masterfully through the whole thing. It was done very well. Every character's origin story was woven in perfectly, and everybody got their due justice. Especially Cyborg, which I was like, when I saw the original one, I was like, why is he even in this? It makes no sense. And then here you get this whole deep, like, emotional backstory with his dad and his mom, which is awesome. Flash had so much more screen time. That scene of him in the going for the job application is my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah. And you got that, and even that, it had like the aspect of humor to it, but like not like
it wasn't forced humor. It wasn't dumbed down humor.
But if you know that character reading the books, you know he's kind of got a funny side to him, but not too much where Josh was putting him at.
Yeah,
you know, so there was a huge difference there. So it, like what Toy Store was saying, it flowed a lot.
Yeah, the structure worked. I loved the Tarantino style chapters.
That was
breaking
great.
it up like that. I loved the black suit Superman instead of the bright blue and red cape. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean,
he shouldn't have had the cape
in general at all.
No, if they were going to go black suit, he doesn't have a cape black suit.
In the comics, he doesn't. Oh, well, it looked cool here.
So, going back, so you also had your introduction to Ira West in the movies, who we'll see in the Flash movie. So, you know, behind the scenes, you got a lot more characters than what you paid for, basically. You know,
and they confirmed that same actress is
yes. And you know, going back to your suits, you know, and you eventually got to see more different suits that were coming out of the Krypton ship. Like, and they even brought back, Kevin Costner's voice was in it.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it was cutscene or they brought him to do this. And you also had, what's the other guy's name? Who played Gladiator?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe's voice.
I think it was previous voice recording because it sounded like the same stuff.
From what I understand, this entire thing except for the epilogue was done filming. So I don't think they even like I said, the reshoots almost nothing was for the in-between, everything but the epilogue. Everything was left alone. They just added CGI visual effects and music. And, you know, so this thing was done. And this is what this is what it looks like when a studio doesn't involve themselves whatsoever in a project. And I think that's really important because it shows us, like, even though, you know, directors can go off the rails, directors can, you know, do a lot of self-indulgent stuff. We all know what happened with George Lucas in the prequels, and he had no yes men. But there's some really cool stuff that could come out of these people and their creative visions if you don't have the higher-up suits breathing down your neck with money and time constraints, you know?
And I think
it's a perfect example of that.
It's been, with any of the DC movies. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the Superman movies and the Batman ones. But look what happens when you let the guy do his job.
Mm-hmm. So some filmmakers just have it, you know. And I don't necessarily think he's like the greatest filmmaker of all time. I like Watchmen, but like I said, I didn't like the other, you know, DC movies. But yeah, I think he did a fantastic job on this.
Was he 300?
He was.
Yes,
he does.
So we also got during this, you know, they brought in a lot more characters, and we got our first on-screen taste of Martian Manhunter, which was very exciting. And it turns out he was the same guy, apparently, Martian Manhunter, in the Superman movies and the Batman vs Superman movies. So it was the general that's. Again, we're bringing more characters in that, you know, should have been brought back in the first place. First place.
Begs the question: where was he when they were fighting what's his name though?
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, and the biggest.
He's always been like a character where it's just like, yeah, he's really cool, but like, what happens if he like runs into Human Torch?
Yeah.
He's got a very easy weakness.
Yeah. And that's the other thing though about it. Before we're gonna jump around, but like,
yeah, just jump around.
This left off on, you could feel that there's a whole other movie after this, which there was supposed to be.
I mean, there definitely was.
Which is upsetting that we're not getting it, although we might know if it's popular. But I'm glad even though it's a cliffhanger and even though we're left off, that we have this.
Yeah.
Like this is what DC was supposed to be in the extended universe, and this is what on-screen Justice League I think is meant to be.
I mean, I definitely liked it more. So I was probably in.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot. You go, because I know you weren't excited for this.
No, I definitely wasn't, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's exactly what I expected it to be, and I mean, with stuff like this, I'm usually pretty good at like hitting the nail on the head, and it's a 4-hour movie. It's a 4-hour superhero movie. There was no way we weren't going to get more. It covered all the bases. I mean, the problem with what they were trying to do was they were trying to do an origin movie for all these characters and an Avengers. So they were basically trying to do what Marvel did in one movie.
Right.
Which is
impossible. Do the Avengers and everything in one movie, which you can't do that in a 2-hour movie. The reason Avengers made it work because everyone got their own movie beforehand. It's not like, hey, this is Cyborg. Like, you don't know who he is? Oh, well, here, this is like 5 seconds of what he is. Like, you can't do that. I was like, it's definitely, and what I was originally trying to say, I kind of liked it, but it was probably like a 6, the original, the 2017 Justice League. That's where I probably felt it was. This was, it was definitely better. It's definitely completer. There was a lot more stuff that I liked. I loved, one of my favorite characters from this out of everyone is Alfred. What's his name again? I can't believe
Jeremy Irons.
I love Jeremy Irons.
Yeah,
I'll watch anything with Jeremy Irons in it. He was fantastic. Him and Diana's like scene together was awesome. Like that's definitely one of my favorite scenes. The Cyborg stuff was great. It gave you a full picture on who it was. Everybody kind of had like a full picture. You know what? I feel like they kind of took away, even though he had a little extra scene, I felt like we got a little less of Aquaman though in this movie than we did in the original one.
Yeah.
And so one of the scenes that I actually really enjoyed in the original one was the one where he's sitting on the rope.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On the way there. And that wasn't in the Snyder cut. I was like, and it was a very Marvel-ish kind of feeling scene. And that was like the one thing that I missed from it. It was like if they would have cut, like they should take only the good things that people liked from the other one and throw those in. But
that was my wife's favorite scene too.
I think it was definitely much better. It's definitely a clearer, more,
what do you think of the pacing?
The pacing, I mean, it was good. I think it was almost too long. I think there was,
It would have been also, I think, a fantastic 3-hour movie.
I do think so. I think there was a lot of extra stuff. I think there was setups for like, I don't really think you needed like the whole Adam setup. The guy, like I think that was, you got a minute or two of that. There was also, I read today, 10 minutes or something like that, or like 24 minutes of slow motion recorded here.
He loves the slow motion.
There's 24 minutes of actual slow motion that you probably didn't need. Yeah. I mean, my least favorite scene in this movie was that weird singing scene. So someone commented on it today where it's just like, I did not like the live action movie of Frozen that Zack Snyder did. I was like, wow, that
was a very strange moment, and I think my wife and I were kind of looked at it just going, what was that for? Like I could definitely tell you that could have been cut. That
was probably for some specific reason. I don't know what it was. Maybe that was like maybe for his daughter. But I mean, listen, there was a lot. It was better. 100%. It was better.
Not perfect by any means. And I'm not saying, when I say I loved it, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. There's definitely stuff I could do without. There's definitely flaws. But for what it is compared to what we got and compared to what I expected, I'm blown away personally.
So the amount that was cut out was quite a lot. I mean, they cut out the whole family that was in the.
I was okay with that. I hated that.
I know. I understand that was a huge cut out.
I remember when in the original one, Superman and Flash could have beaten Steppenwolf and no problem. But oh no, we got to go help the Russian family. So sorry guys, you failed. Like that's how they make it last.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't have that distraction.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the look of Steppenwolf compared to the first one?
I gotta tell you, I didn't like either.
It didn't bother me. I don't love it, but I don't really care. Either way.
He's not supposed to look like those aren't horns. I don't think those are supposed to be horns in the comic. Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong. I've only read.
I thought it was a helmet.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a helmet. So I don't know. Like I didn't like the voice work. I really love the actor who does his voice. I think the voice work is great. He's just
the character was good. I think.
Yeah, the look is stupid. It's just I think that the addition of Darkseid was great because you don't have any looming threat. Like and do they even ever say the word Darkseid in the other movie at all? I don't think
not
so.
Not in the old.
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
So it's just like, and who's Steppenwolf to anyone who's not a Marvel fan, a DC fan? Like that's the most random person you could say. Like someone might be able to say like who's Darkseid, and then you can say, oh, he's like the DC Thanos.
Yeah.
And like that's how like people would understand. But who's Steppenwolf? He's like the big guy who comes with Thanos in Infinity War, who the Hulk fight, and like that's how you would have to explain who Steppenwolf is.
True.
It's just, I mean, yeah, he's cool. I mean, but he's like, he's not even Big Barter. They should have sent Big Barter. Like that would have been a better villain. Than
and she was in the background.
No, I don't think she was. So that was. It was Desaad, and the other one was Granny Goodness.
Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
There might have been like a half of her that they were trying to stick in there, but I think I paused it during there because I was looking to see if I saw it too. But I mean, listen, there was a lot of good additions. I mean, the biggest thing that I didn't like, I mean, I love that they cut out that whole family thing. I agree with you guys 100% there. What was your guys' favorite thing that they added? Like, did you have a favorite added scene that wasn't in the original?
I'm sticking with my Flash scene.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Which one was that?
The Flash scene where he's applying for the job. That was amazing.
And the hot dog.
Yeah.
I kind of like the whole Wonder Woman scene in the very beginning where, she was taking out the terrorist and, she turns to that little girl. I forget what she said because I only saw it once. Do you guys remember the girl?
Yeah, she was like, can I be like you when I grow up? And she's like, you can kind of be whatever you want to be.
I just thought that was really cool. And
was that in the original or no?
No.
That the scene was though.
The scene was, but not that ending part of that. But I thought that was kind of heartfelt,
Yeah, it definitely gave you the feels.
And that fits for Wonder Woman.
Even though it's not true, but it gives you
the whole Themyscira, which was cool with that whole going into the ocean
versus the arrow just landing in the thing and you don't know where it came from.
Yeah, like it just you think. I think it
the fire's lit. That means something. She knows what it means.
Yeah. And then I just think it fit. I'm glad that they filled in these little tiny holes on, what was going on behind the scenes because you didn't know.
Yeah,
and that was a great scene too when she's by down in the tomb and you see the drawings of Darkseid and everything else like that.
Cool too.
It was I just thought it was such a well-rounded movie.
Yeah, it made a lot more sense, and that was the thing. When you saw the Justice League, and I feel like Batman vs Superman is the same way too. It just looks like a chopped up movie.
I'd like to see the Ultimate Edition of that. I haven't seen that.
What?
So
Batman Superman. Apparently, it's better, but I don't know.
I've seen it. It's only slightly.
Okay. So not enough where I'll probably like it.
I wouldn't say it's on this level. I mean, who knows? Maybe he did a 4-hour version of that too. That's somewhere.
Yeah.
But
So did you guys pick up anything else in the background of different, any of these scenes that we kind of made your, go, oh, wow, look at that, moments?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think specifically like that. I mean, again, like I really loved the scene between a Wonder Woman and Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, like the scenes with Mera, because so when they were underwater, she doesn't seem to have an accent, right?
No,
or she does.
What they were saying was, this had a whole different sound and everything look for underwater scenes. Even in Aquaman, where they were more chirping underwater when they were talking, more like kind of that echolocation type of chirping. But when they were out in the air open, they did have English to talking, but they talked to each other through chirping. I'm not sure if you guys realize that.
No, that's cool.
It was kind of high-pitched squealing when they.
I didn't realize that.
They talked to each other, and then when they were in the bubble, like when Mara and Aquaman were talking, it was the more normal talk, but she had that British accent.
Yeah, it was interesting too because she actually shot all those scenes. I read during when all the controversy was going on with her and Johnny Depp. During all those depositions, she actually went and flew and did some of those scenes in the epilogue.
Oh yeah, so let's talk about that epilogue now. So what did you guys think of that? Because I've been talking a lot.
It was okay. I mean, I didn't understand what the purpose of it was, especially now. So like that was the only scene that he decided to shoot after the fact, right?
So I read that he's always wanted to do a Batman Joker scene. So it was mostly that what I was talking about before, a self-indulgent thing. But it's kind of a callback to that dream sequence in Batman vs Superman, the post.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't think that would have worked in a theatrical release, that epilogue, because I felt like at the actual end of the movie when they pan and it's like the whole Justice League, right before, that's the end of the movie. The epilogue, it feels like an epilogue.
That should have been like, if anything, like an after credit scene.
Yeah, and you don't typically see epilogues in movies. So I think this worked for a release like this and where it was cut up into like the chapters like that, but I don't think it would have worked in a theatrical version.
I mean, you have to realize you would have had 2 hours and then probably like the last movie I had an intermission is at Titanic. And then you're coming back for another 2 hours. Usually when you have an intermission, it's like an hour more, not another 2 hours. Like that's like I have to have another dinner at that point. But it's definitely way too long for a theater release. I mean, I get, Warner Brothers, where they're coming from with it. It's just like no, we can't have a 2 hour or 4 hour movie. Like 3 hours, all right, we'll make it work. Even with that, you might want to like throw an intermission in there. But I don't know.
King Kong was ahead of its time, 3 hours, 20 minutes, and that was like, what, 2003? 2004?
Yeah, that was too long. It was...
Did you think it was cool, the scene, or not really? Joker, how would you think of that?
No, I've never really liked his version of the Joker at all.
I thought this was better than his Suicide Squad version.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, everything about this has been... The versions of everyone was better. I'm going to be honest with you. I think... Affleck's okay. I don't get all this praise that comes from him on this. I really don't.
I don't think I specifically praise him either.
It's just like, I don't see Bruce Wayne. I just see Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I don't see a transformation. Everyone else, I mean, Christian Bale, you got to give the guy credit. Christian Bale transformed himself. He was freaking Bruce Wayne. He was Batman. I get like, when I see it, it's like, hey, it's Ben Affleck wearing a Batman suit. It's Ben Affleck, wearing a suit. It's just, I didn't get a transformation. I think he did a good job. I mean, like, I would rather they stick with him than change it up at this point. But
let him build it, like work his way into the character.
The whole Ben Affleck's my Batman is just like, I don't see that. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the end scene was okay if they would have done a movie. Like, if their idea was like, we're going to do a movie about this, or this is going to lead into the Justice League. I think what would have been a cool idea is if in the next movie they're trying to kind of, I mean, obviously the person who dies is Lois. That's who's in his arms. If they could, I think it should be set where they're trying to prevent that to from happening in the future, and then like in the background you're seeing them trying to deal like with what happens. And it's like maybe like, the whole time they're trying to go back to prevent that while they're in the future. But you see both like the post-apocalyptic and the present going on. I think that would have been a cool direction to go with that movie. Maybe if he calls me up, I'll help him on, creating the sequel. But yeah.
Well, from the movie, it's, from the Justice League movie, it wouldn't be just her because she's pregnant, right?
They don't officially say that in this movie, though.
But
I think it's heavily implied.
Yeah, because you see the pregnancy test, and then you have.
She goes to the bathroom, and then.
And then you see her going up into the house with the baby basket, and then you got Bruce Wayne who says to Clark Kent, "Congratulations." I mean, there was a little. If you catch up on that,
it was implied.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, this was all taken from a specific comic too. This was like the Injustice.
Yeah.
That was like basically stolen from there, and like Earth 2. Like those two storylines. Earth 2, he literally was like the the assassin of Darkseid, basically.
So, what are your thoughts of the release of this being in the gray version? So Schneider did announce that he's going to put a black and white version of this out.
He wanted to do that originally. They super told him no. Originally,
I heard it was coming back out. It's going to happen.
No,
from what I read.
I think black and white looks cool in certain movies. I'd be curious to see it on this. Yeah.
I mean, it's dark enough already. Might as well, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a stylistic choice.
I'd like to just see it, but just have certain parts like red. So Darkseid, you see just red parts, maybe his eyes.
Like
Cyborg just red.
Right?
What's that?
That's like a Sin City type thing, right?
Yeah. I will see.
Oh.
What did you guys think of the Martian Manhunter scene at the end with Bruce?
I liked it. It brings another person to the table.
You could super tell that that's 2021 Ben Affleck, 2020 Ben Affleck.
Much thinner,
like
much
jacked
thinner.
at all. Yeah.
He's
like, can I help you?
Yeah, it was like Ben Affleck's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just whatever you want. I'm here. It's I mean, my biggest issue with this is if what was the point if it doesn't go anywhere? Like, if the fans get it to happen, great. This was a great idea. If it doesn't go anywhere, which at this point Warner Brothers says they're not going to do it, but I mean, could it change? Yeah, it still seems pointless to me. Like, it made more sense of that movie, but the whole fact that this movie clearly leads you into other stuff and is supposed to lead into like other movies, and then it's just like that's it. Okay.
The war was also that war was fantastic too. We didn't even talk about the war where we had gods like Zeus and
that was much shorter in the original.
And then we had Green Lanterns. I mean, and there's the death scene. The one scene I think in the end, you had Kilowog that was dead. I mean, they were saying that was Kilowog.
Who said that? They said that was Kilowog?
I read about online. It was Kilowog.
Doesn't look like him.
Not the guy in that battle, but at the end, I guess in the throwback scene where Darkseid was walking over people. Am I not right on that? There was a Green Lantern, and it looked sure as hell looked like Kilowog.
For like the future scene?
Yeah.
I thought you meant like the old scene. I was like,
no, that was some other weird dude.
I think I randomly saw who you're talking about. Better not be Kilowog. kill Hal.
I think that jumping to a different thing. Part of like what's so interesting about this movie is not just the movie itself, even though I think it's a very good movie, but it's the behind the scenes and the backstory about how it happened and what happened. Like, that's almost as intriguing as the movie itself.
What do you mean? Like how they made it happen?
Yeah, the whole story from the beginning of when he started to make this and how it transpired to now. They only released this because they haven't been able to release a movie for the last year. Studios were freaking out in April, and they were like, well, crap, what can we do? We have this thing shelved. Maybe we should finish it and release it for a new streaming service. It wouldn't have been released, I don't think, otherwise.
I mean, this definitely probably ticked up the subscriptions.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much. I mean, anybody who has HBO already had it, but so it's, I don't know.
But
I'm sure it had an effect.
You're right, TC. I mean, if they don't do anything about it, it doesn't really matter.
It seems like it's almost like meaningless, which is is it better? Absolutely. I'm not arguing that, but like, why? Like, it's just like, them kind of like making money. Yeah, he gets to do his vision. It's just will at the end of the day suck if we don't get anything else out of it. I mean,
now I feel down now. I'm upset.
I mean, that wasn't my intention. It was just like
I'd rather have it out there and for us to see than not have it.
maybe if they could kind of like fix whatever they do I think the Flash is going to really set the tone for whatever happens. Like maybe like any setup that happened here, they can kind of like, morph that into what they're going to do going forward, and then that'll be cool. But again, I don't know. I don't have any confidence in Warner Brothers and like their ability to make movies right now, so I don't really. Unfortunately, I can't be the glass half full guy on this one.
I think I saw a tweet that was from Ryan Reynolds, who said, I guess on March 17th, he finally watched the full version of Green Lantern. Yeah. And then he turned around and said, where's the Schneider cut of this?
Yeah. I think he also said, he's like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because he apparently had never watched it.
He never saw it, yeah.
So do you guys have a mind for this? What's that?
Who never saw what?
Ryan Reynolds never saw the Green Lantern movie. He did.
Gotcha. Well, but before we go to grades, so Zack Snyder still hasn't seen the 2017 version.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder's wife saw it, and they were like, you can never watch this. You can never see this. You're going to be heartbroken.
No, I mean, he's not raising me up to the heavens with his version. So, I mean, you'll hear how much better I think it is. I mean, I do think it's better, but you'll hear by how much.
So going around to grades, who wants to start first?
I feel like TC never starts first.
I'll go. I'll do the grade first. So I said the original one. So if we can, let's try to give our original ones as well. So my original grade for the Whedon version was a 6.0. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. I think it was at least a grade and a half better. I mean,
higher than I expected.
What's that?
Higher than I expected from you.
It's just, again, like it wasn't much better. Yeah, I just think there's people who could have made an even better movie than either of them. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like, you don't have to be Marvel, but you don't have to be like, I hate people who try to be anti-Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like, that works. That's what people want. Like, you don't have to do the same thing, but like, why don't use a little bit of that formula? It's just, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. 7.5.
JJ?
I don't remember what I gave the last one. It's probably pretty high, but with this, I'm going to go like a 9.4, 9.6. I really enjoyed this. I always love the movies. I just think they're fun anyway. Even it could be a 1 movie, and I still would probably think it's fun just to watch. This was great. I mean, it gave you what you wanted out of a DC movie compared to like a Marvel movie. I mean, Marvel movies are fantastic. They're great. I mean, finally we see a decent to good DC movie. I liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I probably would like to watch it. I'm probably going to watch it again.
I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Over the course of a couple days.
Yeah. I thought it was fantastic. I don't think it was perfect. I think that there's a lot in there for everybody. Again, everybody has different tastes, but there's a little bit in there for everybody. It's definitely a self-indulgent thing for Zack Snyder.
100%. This is all ego.
Yeah, but I think it was very original, dare I say. I didn't think it was trying to be anti-Marvel specifically. I think he was just trying to be his own thing. And I think it succeeded at that. I feel like that's very up for debate, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would give it a 9.0 white pages.
Excellent.
Right. I think that's a fair grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I think I gave the original one like a 4.5 or something. I hated it.
Yeah, and to just add to that, I still think that Man of Steel and Aquaman are better than this movie. I'm going
to get back to you next episode because I am going to watch everything again because I haven't seen them in a while. So I'm gonna get back to you with my grades on all this when I get back.
That's fine. We don't have to do grades on them. I'm just like, I mean, for a Superman movie, and my probably biggest thing was you don't really get a lot of Superman in this, and that's probably my.
You love Man of Steel, right?
I don't love it. Like I think it's the best out of the DC movies. And, I mean, that could be my affinity for Superman, but if I would say this, if the second half of Wonder Woman was stronger, that had the potential to be the best DC movie they made, but I just think it's just so bad the second half that it's like Wonder
Woman 1.
What's that?
Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 2, I'm not even going to bring that into discussion. That's where that's way at the bottom. But yeah, it's just I think it's probably 1, 2, 3, and this is probably very close to how I judge Wonder Woman 1, Justice League. Probably a little bit better. Maybe I would give like Wonder Woman 1 like a 7, and this is a 7.5 just because it's a freaking 4-hour movie. But I think Man of Steel is my favorite. Aquaman's probably my second favorite that they've done.
I'll agree with you that it felt like it took forever to see Superman in this movie compared to the first one. I mean, obviously we're working with two different time frames of movies. One's 2 hours, one's 4 hours, but it felt like it took felt like it took to the end of the movie just to get Superman to come on, and I think I was more anxious to see him, and it just dragged.
And he doesn't even say anything. He doesn't really say much either. Even like those scenes where he's like with his mom and Lois, he's like, I mean, I would love to know like the dialogue count on him. It doesn't seem very high. Yeah. But I mean, that's probably why I'm not as high on it, because he's really my favorite character out of all these guys, and I feel like he's the one who portrays his character the best. I mean, we've spent a lot of time on this now. We're almost.
Yep. Go ahead. Move on.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about the first episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier while we got some time left?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I feel like I ended that. So, Matt? Why don't you start us off? Sorry, I used your Christian name.
Oh my God. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First episode. I think the thing with these Marvel series is that they're going to be viewed much better as wholes than as individual episodes.
I think so too.
Because honestly, it was a good setup episode, and I think there's going to be a couple setup episodes, but I was kind of bored.
Yeah.
Most of it, honestly.
Meh.
And I don't think that means it's bad. I think that as a whole, it's going to be excellent, probably, because I think everybody felt the same about WandaVision.
But in difference though, I felt I actually loved the first episode of WandaVision, where most people didn't.
So did I, yeah.
Because we were talking the first 2 episodes, because it was 2 episodes the first time, right? Because those 2 were great.
Yeah, but so many people didn't like it because they're like, "What the hell is this? What does this have to do with anything?" Versus this episode, where I was like, "Okay,
this get into my judgment on humanity as a whole."
It's just it's build up, it's exposition, it's introductions, it's setting up, and it's necessary. But as a self-contained thing, I thought it was kind of boring. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, and you didn't even get to see the two of them together in this episode. So I think once they get together, I think the show is going to kind of hit the ground running. I think there were some funny things that happened, but it really didn't go anywhere. The cool thing that happened is you get a little backstory. Like before this happens, you knew nothing about Sam. Like you have no idea about him, about his family, about what they do. You have no idea about that. So they give you a little bit of that. And then, you know who Bucky is, but they're kind of trying to introduce you to his like redemption story almost. Like he almost has like this AA list where he's trying to redeem himself for all the bad things he's done. And like that scene where eventually he's gonna tell this guy he killed his son, and I'm just gonna be like, oh man, that's gonna be a tough scene to watch. But I thought it was a good setup. Again, but I agree with you guys, nothing really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think it was meant to. It's meant to be set up.
But. Yeah, by the time this comes out, episode 2 is going to be out, and I'm sure we're going to be like ecstatic about that. So I imagine that's going to give you a lot more action. That end scene, though.
I didn't understand all that. So,
wait, remind me what happened. I forgot.
What bothered me most about this was, Sam giving up the shield. Like, here we had Captain America at the end of, the movie saying, here I'm passing the shield off to you. You're basically the next Captain America, blah, blah, blah. And he turns it down. That really bothered me, to the fact that, you're given this role. And you walked away from it.
I think and I was actually okay with that. The way I saw that he viewed it is like, there's only one Captain America, and that's Steve. And it's like, if Steve's not Captain America, I don't think there should be a Captain America. And he says, we need more heroes, but I think he's trying to almost like honor him. Was like, he's going to continue being a hero, but kind of on his own terms. Like, he doesn't want to be like, he doesn't want to have to try and be Steve. I think that's where he's coming from it as, because, it's like, he's like Captain America too. Like, he's never going to be like, I mean, if I were looking at it that way, it's like, would you want to be Captain America? It's like, well, Steve Rogers is Captain America. It's
right.
Like, I'm always going to be like, oh, that other guy who's Captain America now. And, I get that. It's like, are there people that would say yes? I mean, at the end, like, we obviously know there's people that say yes. And I'm sure that, his idea was like, listen, like, I didn't give this away because I think someone else should do it. I gave this away because I don't think anyone else should be Captain America. And I think that's, we're going to get more of that as it goes on.
True.
But it's so funny, all the memes of like people where they're saying it's just like, oh, what you ordered, and it shows like, Chris Evans Captain America, and like what comes in the mail, it's like, this guy's Captain America, and it's like weird grin, which I feel bad to because that's Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wyatt Russell.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah, he's I don't know if you guys saw 22 Jump Street. He's like the blonde-haired guy on the football team. He's been in a few different things, but he's actually pretty funny. I'm curious to see how he does in this role.
Yeah,
I think
we'll see what happens with the next one, because
this isn't something I would grade at this point. I would say wait till the end of the whole series.
Because we might be surprised next episode,
But what was pretty cool was this was the highest rated episode on Disney Plus. Highest premiered, yeah.
Most
viewed. Disney
higher
Plus.
than Mandalorian, higher than WandaVision.
Wow. Well, they advertised the hell out of this. They were advertising this. Yeah. I mean, way before WandaVision, they were advertising this. So that's a no-brainer.
I've got to say, this is probably the one I was initially most excited for. Now it's kind of shifted a little bit to Loki, but
yeah. Cool.
All right, pretty good. We're doing pretty good here. All right. So now we're going to go into our closing, which we probably will start doing this a little bit more. I don't know if we'll do it every episode, but it's definitely something we want to get out there a little bit more often. It's called our segment called Buy, Sell, or Hold, where each of us will give you one of our suggestions of a book you should buy, a book you should sell, a book you should hold on for a little longer, or maybe forever. So I think I'll kick it off here since I'm the buy this week, and my buy is going to be, and we talked about this character earlier, is Hawkman 4 from 1964. So it's the first Zatanna. So the thing that kind of, oh, you bought that today from him?
That's funny.
I did buy it. Yes, I did. There it is.
That's funny. Nice. So what you can see about that, the one thing that does stink about that book is Zatanna's not on the cover.
Nope.
But it is her first appearance. So it's a weird kind of Hawkman falling.
But it's a great looking. I mean, that's a great looking cover.
It's really well. Who's the artist on that? Is it Marv Wolfman? No.
Murphy Anderson.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I took some notes on like some of the ones that are just selling on eBay, and we know those prices are usually a little bit higher. But you can get like a 7.0 for like $2,500 for like a Silver Age first appearance of a tight what's the word, Matt?
Oh, what?
Titular character. Going to be the second female character in a DC movie. I mean, that's not a bad deal. I think this is a book you want to buy now, because once more people realize who she is, what she's going to look like, you can see a trailer. This book's going to be like a $5,000 book, in my opinion. So get it now. I think there's still some time. I mean, has it ticked up a little bit since the announcements? Yes, but still not crazy. And overall, DC books are much more affordable than Marvel is right now, just because of, the state of DC movies. But that's all I got to say about that. So Hawkman number 4. If you can get it for a good price, a good grade, do it. There it is. All right, JJ, how about you go next? So what are you going to sell now, JJ?
What am I going to sell now? Right. I was selling some.
Everything is not an answer, even though that's a good answer.
So right. So I mean, what am I sell? So what to sell? I mean, sell everything now. I mean, it's amazing what's out there in the market, and everybody's selling everything right now. But one of the books that I see that's going crazy right now, and people are selling them, is Giant Size X-Men. We've gone
another book that I thought peaked 5 years ago.
And I think people should sell these things because I don't know. Maybe from what I understand and what I've done a little research on is, a couple of years ago, 2017, a 9/8 of this book was selling for $10,000. Now they're selling for 40. There's 9/8 out there that are selling 40 plus. I mean, is it a right time to get rid of this book? Probably. Make some nice coin on it. But they're out there, and eBay's got them everything from a 1/8 here for $2,000, and it's going up.
It's sold by 9.4 for $2,000.
It's these things are hot right now, and I see them all over Instagram. I see them all over Facebook, and people are selling this thing like nuts.
I got 700 for a 7.5.
You'd get for like $5,000 right now.
You can get more than that. More than that. I mean, I could
have gotten like $20,000 for my 9.4 right now. $15,000.
Yep. So
you can't think like that though.
But the problem now is, you could sell anything right now and people are going to buy it. So it's a really hard thing to talk about. Like what to sell? Sell anything.
Yeah.
But
it's getting really, it's really upsetting me right now. All these deep pocket investors coming in and kind of screwing up the market
because they don't care what they pay for something.
And that's the thing too. Like they're not even checking what standard, we go in and buy a book. Like, all right, we do some research before we do it. It's like, all right, within this range. It's like, yeah, do we overpay sometimes? Sure. Are we overpaying by $1,000? No. And these guys are just getting, oh yeah, that's the first Wolverine. Yeah, I'll pay $10,000 for that. 5.0 right in the middle. That's got to be right. I'm just like, it's just upsetting me. I'm getting such a bad taste in my mouth from all.
Yeah, and it's funny because last night I was in bed with my wife and she's on her phone, and apparently she was bidding on 3 different books, and she's sitting there complaining or yelling at her phone. No. She won all 3 books. I don't know what they are, but she even mentioned that, she's noticing an uptick on everything.
Yeah.
And, she thinks she's probably overpaying by, $50 to $100. It's not that big of a deal. And, she's got access to some of my analysis accounts, but it's just, these things are selling. Everything is.
Yeah.
Someone else can buy it.
I'll take it.
All right, my turn.
Go for it. What are you?
All right. So my hold book. This is a book that I think that it's pretty highly priced right now, but I think it has a lot of ways to go. It's Werewolf by Night 32, first appearance of Moon Knight.
Oh, you weren't going to say? I see something behind you there.
I thought that was a cheat if I picked that because I just got it. So I
can't tell what that is.
Also hold that if you have it, but we'll talk about it later. So Werewolf by Night 32, first appearance of Moon Knight. It's expensive in higher grades. 9.0s are around 2,500 to 3,000. But it's been that amount for a couple of years now, and even with the jump in the last year, that book hasn't gone up like a lot of other has. And I think it's very undervalued for what it is. I think it has a lot of headroom, especially when the show comes out. People are going to realize who Moon Knight is and get into him more. Most people, he's a very underrated character right now. I think a lot of people don't know who he is. And they're not that plentiful. There's not as many on the census as there are for a lot of other books out there that are worth more. Sorry.
No, and I was going to say that's one of the books too that people are looking for it. So like, it's not that people aren't sending them in. Trust me, if people find that book, it's getting sent in to people.
Yep, it is. And what I notice is they're very scarce in high grades. There's not a lot of 9.0s and up there.
Yeah.
So I think that book has a lot of ways to go. I wouldn't go out looking for one right now just because they are kind of pricey. But if you have one, I wouldn't sell it.
Yeah. I was looking for it for a while. I think last year before the official announcement, it was like it's like probably book number 5 on like the big books that I was looking for. And it's just like, I never found one that I really wanted to make it jump up, and no, it's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good one to hold. And, that's one where it's like the people who really love the character have always been willing to pay for it, but it's just like the people who are kind of like the casual fans, it's just like it's always been in that range where it's just like I like him, but I don't want like $1,000 like him.
Yeah.
And like that's where I've kind of been with it, and it's just like I wish I would have gotten like I think I had a chance for like a 9.2 for like $2,000 a while back, and I didn't do it. I was like, I'll get it later.
Mm-hmm.
And with Marvel, later's always going to mean more expensive, guys, or for at least for now. Wait till people go back on vacations, guys. We wait till the summer. Start spending money in the summer on comics. All right. That was a good one. I like this segment. I think this is going to be fun.
Honorable mention is this book.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to show that real quick? Anybody who missed our
our
unboxing, show them what that is.
Yeah. So I put up deposit.
We didn't release that yet.
Yeah, I know, but it'll be out by the time this comes out.
Probably.
Journey into Mystery, 83, 6.5 white pages.
Wow.
Presents really nice. I put a deposit on this like a month and a half ago, so I think it's definitely gone up since I put a deposit on it. But that's why I would say hold. This was you and I, TC, both missed out on the chance for a reasonably priced lower grade one, and then it like doubled 2 weeks later. So if this was 2 months ago, I'd say buy. Now I'm saying hold on that.
Yeah. So I think what was it, a 3.0 for like it was like 5,500, which was like 500 above like what it was going for. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay the 5,500. Now it's going a 3.0 white page, like nice copy.
8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I've seen them go for 10.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
So,
but hey, listen, with the thing, you never know. It's like I feel like if you get it, it can go up. If not, I mean, my Hulk 181 has already gone up $4,000 in like 2 months.
Yeah.
So I mean, I won on that. So you can't count your beans on everything or whatever.
Yep.
Is that a saying? I don't think so. I'll make it up. I make up shit all the time. All right. Well, that was a great episode. That was a great segment. I definitely want to do that again. If you're not already following us, I'll do the not the legal jargon, but the follow jargon. Make sure you subscribe. You're hitting that subscribe button down at the bottom. Make sure you're giving us that thumbs up. Leave a comment. We want to hear your thoughts. What do you think we should buy, sell, or hold? What do you think of the Synder Cut? Which one of us was right? Which one of us was wrong? It was the news we missed. Just communicate. We want to hear from you. And we're also on the Instagrams and the Face Space. You can find us there. Long Island Comic Guys or Don't Feed the Geeks podcast. Just reach out and message us. You can touch JJ's little hand there. His strong hand. Hello. I gotta grab my strong hand. All right. Wow. This has gone into the
Looney bin.
But all right, guys. Remember. So what was it? Until next time. Remember.
Don't feed the geeks.